Well, I mean, it's just like if you have read the books that Obama wrote, the biggest damning evidence that he's socialist is not Beck or O'Reilly or Krafthammer or any of these guys. The biggest bump he's got to get over is his own book. His own book about the dreams of his father. Because he lays out his whole socialist agenda in the book.
The Audacity of Hope, I think. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, it's the other one. Dreams of Father. I can't find it right now. But no, the Audacity of Hope furthers it. But you see, that it's if you want to do something, not you particularly, Matt, but if a person wants to do something, don't sit around worrying about whether Barack Obama was born in Hawaii or not. Get your ass up, go buy this book called The Roots of Obama's Rage, read about what Obama saw from his father, who was a Marxist socialist, and how it influenced the kid in the kid's own words. That's what people got to do. And there's problems in this country. I've got a friend of mine who lives in Louisiana who refuses to even listen to it because he says it depresses me and it gives me a headache. And if everybody does that, we're going to be in sad shape, real sad shape. So, I don't know. We've got a lot more we could talk about. I think they got to observe holidays. Mexicans got to observe holidays if they're going to live in this country. But we've got a lot of other things to go over. I wish you was going to be here the last half.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about. I'm just going to the gym so I can work out a little bit later on. I'm having fun here, so I'm just.
All right. Well, we're going to do one of our Obama Christmas songs. Socialism is coming to town, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
You better watch out. You better get by. You're gonna have fun, I'm telling you why. Socialism's coming to town. He's making a change, he's making things right. He's gonna tell you what's naughty and nice. Socialism's coming to town. He knows that you've been sleeping, and now that you're awake, he will tell you what to keep and how much that he'll take. Oh, you better watch out, you better get by. You're gonna have fun, I'm telling you why. Socialism's coming to town. Socialism's coming to town.
Oh no, tell me we don't have dead air. We got dead air. This is 2 days in a row we've done that, folks. We've got to stop that sort of thing. It's not good for a show.
Well, the problem is you get him talking about the Beatles and he just keeps going.
Yes. Beatles. That's called religious music in most areas. All right. we're not going to beat this immigration thing to death. We're going to go on with a few other things and keep Matt around here for a little longer and see if we can't get him to give his comments on some things, because I've got to report back to his mom about exactly how liberal he is, and he's not near as liberal as he wants to let on he is. But I think most people in this country, Matt, are lean to the right, whether it's 1 degree, 2 degrees, or 3 degrees. But I think the biggest portion of people are in the middle. I said 30 years ago that you've got 10% of the people who are on the extreme right, 10% are on the extreme left, and the other 80% are stuck in the middle, and they just want this to be the best country in the world. Our assumption is that our people in government tell the truth. Now, I think because we're a country that believes the inherent good in everybody, and I think that everybody knows or feels like when you go to Washington, it's just assumed that there's going to be some things under the table, and they know that happens. But I don't think people know the full extent. I mean, I've got a question. If you look at the filings of Barack Obama and you listen to him talk about, before he became president, of him and Michelle Obama having to sit down and work on their budget to pay bills, which I don't think a Harvard graduate really did that, but he wasn't worth a lot of money when he was elected, before he was elected or he got into politics, and now he's worth over $7 million. How did that happen? If I can, in that short a period, become worth $7 million, possibly I'm going to run for politics. My biggest problem is that if I don't like something, I'll tell somebody to go pound sand up their ass, and that's probably not going to get you elected. Work for Harry.
Can't get baby for that mouth.
Yeah. You kiss your mother with that mouth? Yeah. I just don't slip her the tongue like they do, but Okay, we talked about earlier, we're going to talk about it a little bit now, and then we're going to get into some fun stuff, and I hope you stick around to the rest of the show. These charts are very interesting. You want me to make you a copy of them?
Sure.
Okay. We got some interesting charts. It just so happens, folks, that we're a full-service organization here, and if I do this right, I'll be able to make some copies. These charts were put together by the Heritage Organization, but like I said, most of the information comes straight out of the White House, and straight out of the budget director's little drawer of here's how much we spend and all that stuff. So it's be interesting for people to take a look at these things. The first one up is number 10, is recent spending hikes are not limited to temporary emergencies. One of the things that these buffoons in Washington want you to believe is that George Bush only added to the deficit because of an emergency. Barack Obama wants you to believe that the only reason that the deficit was added to was because of the emergency, the financial bailout, the stimulus, war on terror, all of these things. Well, that's not necessarily true. The overall spending increases are more in budgetary matters than they are anything else. The bailouts, stimuluses, all these things are very expensive, but guess what, folks? They are just a piece that when you look at it, and I feel like people learn visually by hearing and by seeing rather than by reading, and I fuss all the time that people don't read enough. As a matter of fact, they don't read hardly at all, and that's what makes me mad. But when you start looking at the baseline spending, from 1990 to 2010, and then projected to 2019. Now, these aren't numbers that some conservative has been making up. These are numbers that are coming straight out of the White House. And what you see on the chart is that our spending is going up dramatically, and you had this big peak spike during, the bailouts and the stimuluses and all this stuff. But, I don't know if you know this or not. Read Beck's book, Broke. Again, there's a lot of people don't like Beck, and every time, Matt loves Beck, by the way. Every time I ask somebody,
I made a great song called Loser back when I was growing up.
And do I?
I made a great song called Loser back when I was growing up.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, I love that Beck.
But every time somebody says, "Oh, I Beck this or that," have you listened to him? Have you read him? And 99 times out of 100, no, they haven't. They know nothing about him. But Beck didn't put this together. But he made an interesting point that is about spending. Most people in this country don't know. You can blame all you want to, but the fact of the matter is that spending in this country, there are parts of the budget that go up every year a certain percentage, whether it's approved or not. Do you know that? Social Security is one of those. Some of the entitlement programs that we should be looking at on a day-to-day basis should be like that, but they're not. So go to the website, conservativefreedomusa.com, and go to the top 10 charts of 2010, and that's exactly what I think the webmaster put it as the top 10 charts of 2010. And look at that, because you're going to see Obama's contribution in the bailouts and stimulus plans, starting with George Bush, and then the balance after 2008 for Barack Obama. You're going to see exactly where it's spending, and the stuff that we're concerned about, or we politicians refer to. This kind of debunks all of that. Okay, got anything on that one? Very interesting, I'm sure. Okay, number 9. Federal revenues by source. This was particularly interesting because we talk about where the money's spent, but where does the money come from? The biggest portion of money, 43.5% of the money, comes from individual taxes. Individual taxes. This includes small business people. And second source, which is almost as big, and people don't realize it, is 42.3% comes from Social Security taxes. Almost $1 trillion comes from Social Security taxes. You got these things on there. Go to the website and pull them off. They're really interesting for you to know about. So right there you've got 85, almost 86% of revenue for the federal government is coming in from Social Security and individuals, which leaves estates, excise taxes, customs and duties, and corporate taxes being only 14%. Wow. So you got to wonder why some of the things they fight for. Okay, number 8, the federal government revenues have more than tripled since 1965. This is the one you need to pay attention to. This is the one you need to understand a lot of, because we get all this crap from the government and from politicians and from one side or the other that's saying we need to raise taxes for this, we need to raise taxes for that. How much do you want to raise them, folks? We've tripled our tax base in 45 years. Gosh, that's awful to say, because in 65, I was in high school. No comments from that. We've tripled our tax